How we doing out there, people? I'm finally back home at the compound. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. I hope that you got to hug your loved ones and keep them close to you and get them wrapped right around your arms and give them a big hug and tell them how much you appreciated them this year. We're back at the compound from a long journey. We did some work out of town, and if any of you don't know me, that is kind of my life. I work out of town a lot. So when I'm back home, you can understand how much I really appreciate being back at the ranch, back at the compound. And the situation says it's been a wonderful year, people. It's been a really wonderful year. What we're doing right now is it's pretty cold outside, but if you can see the situation, this is preparation that has paid off. Okay, this is a situation that says no matter what rules that the government comes up with to inflict upon the people of this great country, they will come up with a policy or a procedure that says you can't burn wood, or you can't do this after 2035, after this date and that date. A lot of these people making these rules and these proposals are well into their 80s. And the chances are in 2035 they won't even be above the soil, if you know what I'm talking about. So I just want to encourage you not to get frustrated with it. Just remember, people have been burning wood and fossil fuels since the beginning of time. So this is a primitive thing. It's something that people know that you're not going to be bludgeoned to death by a bill in the mail. There's a lot of people that still burn wood. There's a lot of people that still try to make their bills and budgets work for them rather than for the government or the country that wants to keep taxing you to death. Now, that being said, you can see I'm reading 178 right now, and you see the hot coals here? I don't know, let me show you, because you probably can't see it from the tripod. But you see the hot coals? That will keep my stove, believe it or not, it will keep that water going in that stove for approximately another 6 to 8 hours. Those coals will burn, and they will keep it, that water jacket, so warm that inside you won't even know if you're in Florida or if you're in Saskatchewan, Canada. You just won't know, because it's that even of a heat and that even of a temperature. But what I really wanted to do was bring you out here at the old woodshed, and I wanted to show you the situation. Okay, when you have an outdoor wood boiler, there's many blessings that come with it. You'll be able to reach into your bank account or your pocket, so to speak, and still have that cash and that money at your disposal to use for other things. The money that you pay out on propane or natural heating oil or other types of situations, electricity, you are at the mercy. You're at the mercy of these people setting the guidelines and the boundaries on the parameters of what the cost will be. If you take matters into your own hands and prepare ahead of time, and maybe set it up for next year, get you an outdoor wood boiler. It heats your domestic water. It heats your radiant heat in your house. You can heat other buildings with them, outbuildings, so that in this white, beautiful winter, you can say to yourself, hey self, let's go in the garage and let's tinker around and be productive rather than watch television all day and become a vegetable mentally. Watching Wolf Blitzer and Don Lemon and the rest of them tell you how bad the country is and how things are falling off. So what we want to do is try to get outside in the winter. And as you can see, it's very cold out. I have a t-shirt and a fleece shirt on. Now I do have my bomber hat. I bought this for cold temperatures. And let me tell you something, if you've never owned one of these hats, you better get to ordering one, and don't get a cheap one, okay, that's going to fall apart. Get you one that's really got some real fur on it. You know what I'm saying? Some real rabbit's fur, or something that's going to wrap your face in a blanket of love. And that's exactly what this hat does. But what I wanted to show you was basic routine when I load the stove. So my tool of choice is a hoe, just a metal hoe. And you ain't got to worry about the wooden handle. It's not in there long enough to hurt it. But as you can see, there's creosote here. And what I do is I go along the sides here, okay, every so often, and just scrape it. And as you can see, let me see, you see that little bit right there? You just get that off the walls. It's just normal maintenance. You don't have to do it every time. You can see how hot it is. It's just dripping off like caramel. It just lets the metal that heats the water have less of a barrier between it, and it keeps things nice. You see? You ain't, excuse me. You ain't got to do it all at the end of the year. You can kind of do it as you go along. Now, the best advice I can give you is do not do this scraping of the walls or dressing it up when you have actual wood in there that's smoking and whatever, it'll get all over you. You wait until you have red coals, and that heat is what's making that like that hard creosote like butter. And you can go in there and just get the most of it off, scrape it off. I go up, mine has these little louvers at the top. It's like a corrugation. I go in there and I grab it like that. See this? And then it just comes right off. And here's the other tool I want to show you. Here's the other tool. Hold on one second. Let me show you this. There's another tool that I like to use, and you can use a scraper or something else if you'd like. But I just use a little pry bar, and I scrape that off. But let me bring you over here and show you what I'm talking about. Let me bring you over here. You see this door right here? This is where the damper is, and it opens up. It's a little hydraulic. There's a little bit of, it's just dry creosote. Just go in there and clean this off. Just on this little pad. Go along the side. Okay. Now this isn't every day. This is like once every week or so. Then you get the door itself. And then I just go around and touch up around the door. And again, you can use a different type of scraper if you like. But that's about it. And now, the door's not going to have a wet creosote making that little damper door stick. And there's a fuse back there that will blow. If that door's got a lot of wet creosote on it, it will stick to it. And that doesn't happen as long as you load your boiler properly. And what I'm talking about there is you need to load your boiler with the wood towards the front of the door. And then all the creosote and stuff goes out through the chimney and out the top and out the back. If you load it all to the back, that smoke comes around the front and that creosote gets dripping down on that door like carob syrup. And it makes that door stick and it doesn't want to open it. And it's very rare, but that happens, and then your fuse will blow. And you'll have to change the fuse out. And but anyway, I'm telling you, it's very cold outside, and as you can tell, I'm like a rotisserie chicken. I'm just standing in front of this door, getting some of this heat, and feeling like everything's just going to be fine. But I wanted to bring you out here today, and I wanted to show you how I load the stove. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and we'll step in here. Let me get this camera just right. I got this little tripod, and I want to show you the situation here. So there we are. I hope it's okay for you. Let me see here. Let me get it a little more level for you. How's that? Okay, I hope you can see that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and load it. And what I do is, let me just pick you up real quick. I always have a wheelbarrow and I throw it in from the shed into the wheelbarrow and then I just wheel it straight over. That's my method and that's my madness. But so what I do is I'll take this here. Now I've already took the hoe and I've moved the coals around. Okay, and got it off the walls and moved them around a little bit. I get a nice flat bed of coals in there. It's not coal, but you know what I'm saying, the coals. I get the nice flat bed in there because I'm going to lay the wood on top of them. Now you don't want to have the coals all rough in there where the wood starts coming in at an angle. And it's all over the place. You won't be able to stack it correctly. So maybe I can show you better than tell you. So you come in here, you'll lay this in like this, just like you're putting them to bed at night. You know what I mean? You're saying, okay, go ahead and get in your pajamas and go ahead and get yourself up in the bed because you're going to have to keep us warm for the next 20 hours, people. We want to stay warm in this cold weather. And it's kind of hard to stay warm and happy at the same time if you know you're getting bludgeoned by paying too much for something. So we want to stay warm and we want to have this as far out of our mind as from the east is to the west. We really don't want to be thinking about how much this would cost. And I can guarantee you right now, locally the propane is about $4.34 where I'm at. And when I put the boiler in, propane was just about $2. Right before the situation in this country, if you know what I mean. Now I had a fella the other day got on my page. Let me restate that. I got a fella that got on my page, my YouTube page, and no, he don't have a picture. He, she, him, shim, I don't know who it is. They don't have a picture, but they had, I want to say it's a him because they had some really heavy stones underneath them to get on my page and tell me to keep my political views to myself. Let me tell you something. I don't care if YouTube pulls me down. I don't care if Twitter pulls me down. I don't care who tries to pull me down. We all know who it is. It's the FBI. Okay, the FBI has been going around these social media platforms and trying to kill free speech in America. You will never kill my voice unless you kill me. I hope you get that really straight and really clear. I'm never going to shut up and I'm never going to sit down. This country has came too far, and our soldiers and loved ones of the past have laid on the beaches of Normandy to die, and in Vietnam and other wars for our freedoms. So I will be hot damned if I don't say what I want to say. It would be a disservice to the people that have laid their blood on the battleground field so that I could have a voice. It would be a disservice to them. So here's the situation. We're going to make it real clear for all the millennials or the people that have come after Gen X that don't understand. If you don't want to see something, it's real simple. Even an old Gen X guy like me knows you can just swipe it and move on. You don't have to be so soft that it bothers you. Just swipe. I mean, I think nowadays they call them people Karens. We don't want to be a Karen on someone else's page. If you don't like it, just move on, hi diddly. So that's the situation. And we're loading our wood stove. And I don't want to pay the prices that are in this country for any other kind of heating source. Okay? Because what we have is biothermal units that are going to last way longer than fuel oil. Maybe you don't have a lot of money and you say, but I do have energy in my body. I can go cut my wood and stack it in a wood stove. I can do that. My resources are limited. I don't really have thousands of dollars to throw around for whenever they want to jack the price up. So maybe you want to go and get yourself set up where you can get you a boiler. Now here's the deal. They have financing. The money that you're normally going to spend on heating, that they're really taking advantage of you on, you could be making a monthly payment, maybe 150 to 160 bucks a month. It's way cheaper than, I mean, my situation, I was going through $4,500 a year at $2 a gallon to heat my house, my hot water. And now I'm roughly, would have been, with the price increase, would have been about $8,000 a year. And with all the firewood and stuff I buy it locally, I'm around $2,000 a year. So that extra money basically pays for the stove, you know. And I'll be honest with you, I like getting outside. And I like doing and having a hand in part of it, you know what I mean? So there we go, about a wheelbarrow's amount in my stove. Okay. Now, I've got the smallest stove possible, and it's very efficient. But I don't know if you can see that. Let's get you up here and take a look. Okay. You see how I got it stacked to the front, but yet there's still room for the door to close. Okay, there's plenty of room there for the door to close. And as you can see, the coals, they just, let's get you down there now, hold on. They just get to, the air comes through this door right here, and it just gets the coals going across that dry wood, and it really works wonderful, you know. And what I like to do is keep this little area clean, like this. Okay. It's really not a lot of maintenance, people. It's just common sense. And it kind of gives you a minute to get out of the house and actually do something, you know. And you're not just sitting there saying, what's going on? You know. Don't get me wrong, there's times to relax. But you know what? You want to be able to have a purpose and get out there and do something throughout the day too. Now, me personally, I like to put these pavers down in front right here. I put these pavers down. Now that's a concrete pad I poured years ago, but these pavers I put down just to kind of keep the mud and stuff, if it does get a little, how do I put this? If it gets a little wet, let me get you set back up here so we can have a conversation. If it gets a little wet, you won't be in a deal that says you got mud all over. Now I usually bring this little chair out here because sometimes I like to just sit by the fire a little bit, you know. You got to watch the temperature. You know, it says 181 right now. The one thing you don't want to do is leave these doors open and forget about it, because it will heat that water up to a point where it'll boil right out the top. So if you're going to have someone help you with this, like when I'm gone, my son takes care of this. He's very good, and he's very thorough, and he always checks it out and makes sure everything's 100%. But now that will last us around 24 hours. And we had actually, in a real, if you want to pack the stove right in the back and the front, you get about 32 hours out of it. So I'm pretty happy with that. You know, the situation is we're saving a ton of money here. I mean, we're talking about $6,000 a year on the average. You know, and these stoves, these ones here run about $6,000 to $7,000, and maybe 7,500 with your pipe and the install. I know I did the install myself, but I mean, don't be fearing it. It's just pipes and pumps. You know, it's not a whole hard situation to have, but you are going to need a little bit of a rhythm. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm in there like Johnny Cash singing. You know, there's a long dark situation with a train. You know what I'm saying? I'm in there singing like he was singing in San Quentin. You know, because I'm happy. When I'm happy and I'm saving money, I'm singing. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely not singing the blues. I can guarantee you that. Nothing against the blues, but I'm not one of these people that likes to talk about the problem. I like to talk about the solution. So, you know, you'll be in there singing and whistling Dixie too. You know, I remember when I grew up, we used to watch Hee Haw with Roy Clark, and that's why I equate a lot of things to. You know, like sometimes when I'm happy knowing that I'm saving money on a situation like this, it's like hearing Roy Clark's his banjo in the background of my mind just twinkling along and saying, look at the money you're saving, and look at, you can go do something else with your money rather than give it to the power companies and the electrical companies and the people that want to jack everything up just to break the country and break the system. We're not going to get broke, people. We're still going to eat good. We got a ham dinner for later. We've got friends and family that have called. I've traveled home, and I've got friends and family that called me the whole way back saying, hey, we're thinking about you. Be careful. Be safe. I came all the way from Illinois back home to upstate New York here, and the roads were treacherous. But I just took my time, you know. And that's just one of them things this time of year you want to do anyways. Just take your time. But we've got the birds on the compound are flying into the feeder. I see that. We've been feeding them. We've got the squirrels taken care of. They've got the corn out back. And, you know, the only problem we're having is the deer keep coming up and trying to get a nibble every now and again. But we don't mind if they get a little bit, and they give them something in their belly before they lay down and go to sleep at night. And we got the greenhouse. In another couple months, we'll get that baby going again and get our transplants. And the birds are happy with the compound. They're getting their seeds. They're getting their. They're keeping their families nice and warm in their nests. And you know, I'm keeping my compound and my house nice and warm. I've got the generator ready. If something happens with the power, we're going to go ahead and fire that up. Now here's another tip. I bought some professional grade gas cans. Even if you tip them over, they won't open up. They've got that spring on them. They're like the metal ones, the professional ones. I got 2 of those, so there's 10 gallons. Plus I have, I think, 5.5 or 6 gallons in the generator, and that will run about 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours. So we've got a couple, 3 days worth of fuel ready. And here's the other situation. Every couple of months, you know, on the manual, if you read about them generators, and I got one from Harbor Freight, and don't shoot me down yet, because let me tell you something. Unless you've gotten online and took a look at them, the reviews on them Predators, they're basically the Chinese have captured the plans from Honda and just basically cloned it. They have the same exact air breather, the same angle on the heads. They have everything. I think it's just a stolen recipe from Honda, and instead of paying $2,800, I think we paid $599. Okay, and I've been using it now for about 3 years, and I've had very, very good success with it. The other situation is you want to go every couple of months, and you want to go ahead and fire it up and just run it through its paces. And I only put non-ethanol fuel in mine. And because sometimes you'll go a year or so without using it. Now, if I go a full year without using my generator, like to keep the house going, I will drain the fuel out and burn that in something else. I'll burn it in the weed eaters. I'll burn it in the lawnmowers. I'll just get rid of it, because, you know, you want to recycle it to the point, even though it's non-ethanol, you don't want it forever in there. I mean, this isn't 1977 anymore, where the gas. I remember back when we were kids, you'd go buy a car for $50 or $150, $300, something like that, and you'd say to the guy, hey, does this thing run? And they'd say, put a battery in it and pump the gas 2 or 3 times in the carburetor, and it'll fire right up. And the car had been sitting there for 8 or 12 years with the same fuel. This is what tells you how good the fuel was back then. You go out there and throw a battery in that baby, and some of you old timers will remember this. With the pedal, that baby would fire right up. Now, you may have a front pump seal leaking because the seal shrunk if it's an automatic, but that baby would fire up. You wouldn't have to worry about tarnished gas. The gas was just much better. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't care that it had lead in it, you know. Okay, so lead's bad. Well, look what they're pumping out doing these other things for these solar panels. And look at this fracking they're doing. You know, this is getting into water systems and everything. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it was really led the problem, you know, in the gasoline. I think maybe it was a problem because it lasted a lot longer than they wanted it to. That might have been a big problem, if you know what I'm saying. But here we are, and we're enjoying the warmth of the heat. We're reminiscent of the old days. It's 2022. We're just getting ready to embark on 2023. I've got the rest of the year off, okay? I took my vacation towards the end here. We've got some things to catch up on. We've got the trailer to work on and get that ATV trailer right. We've got to walk through the woods and do a walkthrough on the woods in the winter. We haven't done that yet. And maybe if the weather holds up the next couple days, we'll take that walk. We've got some trees out there that have blown down that we need to harvest for this. We don't want to just let them rot away in the woods. You know, we want to be able to take them biothermal units and transfer it into heat for the house and hot water. Now here is the situation I want to show you, because I know you've all been asking. I've seen some comments. People have been messaging me, how is the new pipe you put in? How is it doing? Are you saving more wood? Yes, 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 and yes. We're saving more wood because the other pipe I had in was just a PVC pipe with the PEX lines in it, and I did try to put some foam on it, but it was nowhere near what this other pipe is. And you always had a strip. I didn't care how cold it was, you had a strip of ground you could see where the pipe was. So let me show you what I'm talking about. You can see the angle here. You see the little arch? That's where I put the pipe in. It's just a little bit low because I didn't get the topsoil in before the winter hit. But look how the snow is all the way up to the house. All the way up. There's no bare ground there. Okay, there's no bare ground. Before, you'd have a 3-foot wide strip of dirt. So we know that that pipe is working way better, and we know because we're filling the stove less. We're filling it every 24 hours just to be safe, but there's still plenty of coals that'll go another 5 or 6 hours like I showed you earlier. The pipe paid off. That was $750 and a little bit of time digging the trench. And what I personally did was I dug out the clay and the rocks, and when I put the pipe in, I laid a nice bed. You can go back in my videos and look at it, a nice bed of sand. Laid the pipe in, another bed of sand, and then next spring I'll put some topsoil over it. But let me tell you something, you don't see a strip of dirt there. And I've had it with 30 below zero, and you could see ground. You could go pick worms out of it damn near, because it was so warm. And that means I was losing a lot of heat through the pipe system going to the house, and it's about 55 feet. But that's just another look at it, and I wanted you to see how I loaded the stove, the little bit of maintenance that we do to it, and of course you're going to check your water. You raise this up and the water comes up. You won't be able to see it because the tube's a little black, but I can see it because I'm right here in person. We're going to go ahead and shut this, okay? All right, and as you can see, well, I don't know if you can see. Let me see here. Hold on. 187 degrees, and you notice that the damper shut down at 185. I heard it drop, but 187. If we leave that door open, it'll just keep climbing. All right, and let's open the door up and show you. You see here what I did? I put the foam around that other pipe that come in. I even foamed these. Okay. Here's a 3-speed pump, okay, and these valves are all open. That's what you want. There's your drain plug. If you drain it every 5 years, they want you to drain it. Now we sent our sample in, and here's another bung here. I don't know if you can see this. That's a bung for another, maybe, and here's the return for it. That's going to be for my garage, right? I'm going to run a pipe in for the garage so I can have warm heat in the garage all winter long, okay, and the situation will say, we're happy. You know what I mean? There's not much more we can tell you other than it's cold out. We're warm, but it's cold outside, but we're warm inside. I think they made a song like that. Baby, it's cold outside. But baby, I'm telling you right now, I'm pretty happy how warm the stove keeps me. And, you know, You've got to have a couple different options, people. Now, I still have the propane. I don't know if you can see it up there. Let me see. Right there. I got 7 or 8 of them 100-pound propane tanks. And, you know, as a backup situation, you can't ever put all your chips in one basket. You need to know that. Now, as much as I love the stove, you cannot put all your chips in one basket. If something happens, lightning strikes it, a tree falls on it, you've got to think, okay, we got to be able to shut that water supply off and go back to the original plan, even though we'd have to pay more. But you've got to have that type of situation that says, we're ready. We're ready for winter. And you cannot be half-assed and walking through the lily pads thinking everything's going to be fine. And wondering, well, someone will take care of it. No, you have to be the one to go take care of it. Okay? This is Bry, and you know what I'm going to say. I've got to get on down the road, people. Have a Merry Christmas.